If I may.
Please.
We've never approached them with a multi-year renewal. Most insurance companies like to hedge their bets a little bit, that you don't know if somebody has a catastrophic illness. Who knows? I'm sure they'd be happy to give us 24 months if the renewal was high enough. In this case, I think because of, and Helblings has done a great job for us of going out explaining that, look, these guys, you know, every year, Regents, you're looking at the city going out and having to bid because they don't have hard numbers. So I think that's probably a large impetus for why they're willing to offer
A
this.
pretty good chunk of change from us as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we haven't approached them, Dan, with the idea of a biannual renewal. So we could certainly do that, see if they're interested at all and see what numbers shake out. But we've not asked for that in the past.
Thanks.
Sue, you chaired the administrative committee, did you, when this was discussed?
And we discussed this, and what, just I wanted to point out one thing to Dan, that one of the reasons why we got to, 21 months is because
It works.
yeah, and if you made it 24, then we'd be back to
Yeah,
the
we'd be
same
back where we
wrong
were.
months.
That's what I'm
for the
saying, after
budget.
this
Let's
21.
not do that. Oh, after, okay. What was the name of the benefits committee that I sat on a long time ago?
The Employee Benefits Working Group.
There you go. Well, when we had the beginnings of presentations of what would happen, or where all the potentials, and this is a great situation. I mean, I know that it's possible, as we did before, to get a 1 year at 2.2%, which happened to be a lot lower than what it could have been. But I think that's being penny wise and pound foolish, and I think the rest of the committee pretty much agreed that, and also that employees like predictability. They don't like flipping from year to year and getting different benefits and not knowing what to expect. So, and obviously, the Employee Advisory Committee weighed in, and I'm happy. Wayne, did you have anything? You were on the committee.
Well, just as we've said, one of the things that's always given us a little bit of heartburn during budget time is the fact that we just don't know, and we always have to go with a larger number. Inevitably, we end up with a smaller number, but we've budgeted more money than what we needed to. We really don't like to do that. We like to budget what we really anticipate the increases is going to be. So we've talked about this, trying to get into a budget rotation cycle where our renewals with them comes at about the same time that we're going to be doing our budget. This accomplishes that situation. And so I, as I said in the admin, is I'll certainly support the 21 months at 5.9%. In fact, I will make a motion as such.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have Wayne's motion and Tom's second.
I was going to jump.
And other discussion here? Tim, did you want to add to the conversation?
No, I'll just echo exactly what Wayne said. It gets our budgeting process lined up with our insurance budget. It's just a great opportunity. Take advantage of it. Support it.
Okay. And that's it. Yeah, Walter?
Thank you, ma'am. I'll support it as well. I've been very upset with what we've had to go through, trying to budget a very large amount of money of the city's cost of operation in the dark. It's interesting that if you don't go out for what you call bids, I can only presume you could get that 15% that they kind of, you know, pulled the curtain back quickly and showed it to you and then shut her back up. I appreciate Blue Cross and Pacific Source for the at least third year in a row
Yes.
participating in the game. And I don't use the term lightly, but it's something of a game. My understanding, these are not sealed bids, that these numbers are shared, that the company holding the contract knows what their competition's telling us, and knows that if they want to keep the business, then they need to get close at least. I think the best benefit in this whole thing is getting it into a budget cycle that you and the finance director say is the right cycle to be able to do this. You'll only, as Dan said, I think, be guessing either 2 or 3 months, August, or 2 months, August and September, as opposed to guessing 9 or whatever it was you were trying to do before. The one question I do have, Mayor, there's going to be the difference between the 5.9 and the 15 that was budgeted is 9%. How much, I'll call it excess, do we have in the budget when this motion passes tonight?
Well, across all funds, it amounts to just right around $120,000. So those funds, depending on where they were generated, if they're in the general fund, then they will be placed at the end of the year. If they're not allocated by the council in an open budget process, they'll be accumulated in the capital projects fund, where the council is free to move them back into operations or free to put them toward a capital project if they so choose. They will not be spent by staff without specific authorization from the council.
I'm not going to amend the motion, but I would like to get on record of asking that staff consider that 120,000, the way we came about it, through no fault of anybody except possibly the insurance companies, or our own lack of timing, or whatever you want to call it, and that we do bring that discussion early through administrative or public works finance, whichever committee is appropriate, to talk about this. You've already mentioned to me, Gary, I think it was the mayor, I think it was Gary, that we've got those COPS grant employees over at the police department that are funded through a particular date with no funding set on the backside, and that we would like to keep.
Sure.
Possibly that is something to be looked at. I presume that would be a council decision. So would like to make a part of the record that I personally would appreciate an early opportunity to discuss the use of the saved funds that we have found ourselves with.
I can get together with Dawn and we can bring that back to committee.
Yeah, I would support that too, Walter.
Okay, other discussions?
Well, now that Walter brought that up, is that 120,000 over the 21-month period, or just one budget year?
It's one budget year. I would state, though, that is across funds. That
Yes.
is not all general funds.
Yes.
So there will not be sufficient savings in order to fund those two positions, but there will be significant monies there, and we'll bring a full report back to the committee.
Right, and nor will those be recurring revenues. So,
Exactly. You're right, because once that's done, I'm assuming we're not going to budget 15% next year if we don't need it.
right. Tom?
Well, if we're giving our wish list, I'd like to put it into sidewalks and encourage more active living in Moscow, which goes to the health.
To the health thing.
Yeah, I think that was my conversation as well, Tom. Something related to health and wellness
Well, I
kinds
think,
of
you know,
activities.
we're always trying to fix sidewalks in this community. It helps improve the way we feel about the place.
Any other discussion before voting?
What? Sidewalks?
Okay, hearing none, we'll start the roll call vote with you, Dan.
Aye.
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 Okay, that motion carries, and the city's current employee health insurance program is thereby approved at the 21-month period and a rate increase of 5.9% as supported by staff and the Employee Advisory Committee.